I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you questions from my students' test paper. We have 5 application questions in this particular video to discuss. You can always pause the video, copy these questions, and then answer. The last question I'll show you from the test paper, which is kind of like this. Now, let us solve these questions one by one. Question number 5. The maximum sound level at Power Rock was approximately 150 decibels and at Coffee House was around 120 decibels. How many times as intense was the sound level at Power Rock as compared to Coffee House? So these are standard questions. We'll use the formula of loudness here. So the loudness formula is loudness is equals to 10 times log of ratio of the intensities, right? So as compared to some standard intensity, right? So that is the formula which you can always use and then figure out the answer. Now what we are given here is basically the maximum sound level at Powerhouse was approximately 150 decibels. So at Powerhouse loudness is 150. And so we could write this as 150 equals to 10 log I, let me use Powerhouse P for here, I is 0, right? So we don't know the intensity, I'm writing IP for Powerhouse, Power Rock. So dividing by 10, we get 15 equals to log of IP over I0. On the other hand, the Coffee House, using the same formula, we get 120 decibels is the output, which is 10 times log of ratio of I coffee over I0. So that gives you 12 equals to log of IC over I0. Now basically we need to find the ratio of their intensities. That is all, correct? So what we can do here is that if I subtract one equation from the other, then what do we get? So we got two equations here. Let me call this as equation 1, this as equation 2. So if I subtract from 1, 2, that is, I will do equation 1 minus equation 2. Then what do we get? I'll write down here 15 minus 12, that is equals to log of IP over I0 minus log of I coffee over intensity, default intensity, right? So using the properties of logarithms, I could always write this as ratio, right? So what we get here is 15 minus 12 is 3 equals to log of IP over I0 divided by IC over I0, correct? Now I0 cancel. So we can find the ratio IP over IC. This is to the base 10, correct? It is to the base 10. And therefore, I can rewrite this in exponential form. So I say 10 to the power of 3 is equal to IP over IC. Is that clear to you, right? So I just wrote this, which is log of IP over IC in exponential form. So what I get is that the intensity of sound at the Power Rock is 10 to the power of 3, which is 1,000 times. Do you see that? So that becomes the solution. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Let's take up the next question now. Question number 6. The average pH of acid rain is about 4.5. Calculate the hydrogen ion concentration of acid rain in moles per liter. Well, the formula is pH is given by minus log of hydrogen ion concentration, right? So straight application of the formula, pH 4.5, let's write down here, equals to minus log hydrogen ion concentration. This is base 10, right? So let's do like this. First, minus 4.5 equals to log of hydrogen ion concentration. Base is 10. Write it in exponential form. 10 to the power of minus 4.5 equals to hydrogen ion concentration, right? Let's use the calculator. We will say 10 to the power of minus 4.5 is equal to 3. So what we get here is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can say 5 zeros, right? So we can say hydrogen ion concentration is equals to 3.162, right? Into 10 to the power of. Now basically the value here is, let me write down the value first and then we'll write down this value. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 0.1234, and then we have 3162. So that really means that you have to move it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So minus 5, correct? So that is how you can write down your answer, and the answer should be in the units. Moles, 3.162 into 10 to the power of minus 5 moles per liter, right? So I hope that is absolutely clear. Now let's move on to question number 7. Question number 7 here is, the temperature of coffee after n minutes is given by T of n equals to 72 times 0.85 to the power of n plus 20. How long does it take for the coffee to cool to the temperature of 70 degrees? So the formula given to us is Tn equals to 72, 0.85 to the power of n plus 20. So we want final temperature to be 70 degrees. So 70 equals to 72 times 0.85 to the power of n plus 20. So take away 20 first. 70 minus 20 equals to 72 times 0.85 to the power of n, which is 50. We'll divide by 72 now. 0.85 to the power of n. To calculate n, let's take log both sides. We get log of 50 over 72 equals to n times log of 0.85. And now you can calculate the value of n by finding the ratio of these logs, right? So close the brackets. So n is equals to log of 50 over 72. No point in simplifying that. Log of 0.85. So we have log 50 divided by 72, bracket close. Let's calculate this, and then we'll divide the answer by log of 0.85, which is equal to 2.24369. So that becomes the solution for the given question. So what we get here is that the time taken will be 2.24 minutes, right? So the answer is in 2.24 minutes, the temperature will be 70 degrees. It makes sense because 72 is your initial temperature, so it doesn't really take long. Question number 8. Find the average rate of change of f of x equals to log to the base 6 of 3x on the interval 2, 12. So we are given the function f of x equals to log to the base 6 of 3x. We need to find rate of change in this interval. So let's find the value. What is f of 2 equals to? So f of 2, let's plug in 2 here. We allow 6 of 3 times 2, which is 6. And that, is 1. Now let's substitute 12 and then calculate log to the base 6 of 3 times 12. So 3 times 12 is 36, which is 2. 36 is 6 square, right? So we get these two values. When we say average rate of change, what does that mean? So we know average rate of change is basically will be equals to f of 12 minus f of 2 over 12 minus 2, correct? 12 minus 2, that is it. So we can now find the average rate of change, which is equals to f of 12 is 2. So we get 2 minus 1 over 12 minus 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 12 minus 2 is 10. So we get 1 over 10. First question here is, a defense lawyer has determined that the number of people, P of T, in a city of 1.2 million people who have been exposed to a news item after T days is given by the function P of T equals to 1.2 million 1 minus e to the power minus 0.032. Let me write down the function here is P of T equals to 12 and 5 zeros. 1 minus e to the power of minus 0.03t. Right. The lawyer knows that it will be very difficult to pick an unbiased jury after 80% of the population have heard of the crime. After how many days will 80% of population have heard the crime? Explain the limitation of this formula when you try to compute after how many days 100% of the population have heard the crime. So first let's figure out 80% of the crime. So that means we want 80% of this population, which is 1.2 million, right? So that much. So that means 0.80 times 1,250 zeros. Is that okay? Which is equal to 0.8 times 1/200,000, which is 96,000, right? So that's what we get, 960,000. So we need to find time, basically rearrange this formula. So let's do it. So we'll replace P of T as 960,000. So we get 960,123 equals to 1/200,000. 1 minus e to the power minus 0.032, right? So we'll divide this by this. So we get 960,000 divided by 1/200,000 equals to 1 minus e to the power of minus 0.03t. So that gives you, so we have 96, let's cancel the zeros. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. The 6 divided by 120, that is 0.8. So that is 0.8 equals to 1 minus e to the power of minus 0.03t, right? So let's bring it to this side and then calculate the answer. So we have e to the power of minus 0.03t equals to 1 minus 0.8, which is 0.2. So let's take log on both the sides. There's less space here. Let's take log on both the sides. So we get minus 0.03. You could take natural log also. So that will straight away give you the answer, because natural log is better actually. Anyway, we'll take log 0.03t log of e. Okay, so we say log of e equals to log of 0.2. So t is equals to log of 0.2 divided by minus 0.03 log of e. Right? So let's calculate this. So we have log of 0.2, which is a negative number. So we are now dividing by, within brackets, negative 0.03 log e. So e is this function here. Okay, two brackets close, equals to. So what we get here is 53.64. Alternate could be, it is 647, we can round it. Anyway, so the question is, after how many days, after how many days will 80% of population, so let's say 54 days, right? So, which is 54 days. So that is the answer. We get 54 days. And 80% of people will know it. Now let's look into part B of this question. It is explain the limitations of this formula when you try to compute how many days 100% of the population have heard the crime. So now let's look into 100%. So if I am looking for 100%, P of t is 1.2 million, right? So they cancel away, right? So we get 1 equals to, or let me write down. So let me just move this a bit here. Okay. So if I write PT, that's part B we are doing. So we get 1,000 equals to 120,000, 1 minus e to the power of minus 0.03 t, right? So they cancel away. So we get 1 equals to. So that means we get 1 equals to 1 minus e to the power of minus 0.03 t. Now that implies that e to the power of minus 0.03 t is equal to 0. Now you know exponential function cannot be 0. Do you see that? It's an exponential function. It can approach 0, right? So that is not possible, right? So that is not possible. So that is part B, and that is the limitation of it. Well, it could be practical also, that never will it ever reach a situation when all will be aware of the case, right? Okay. Anyway, so we have done few questions on application of logarithmic functions and exponential functions. These questions, as you know, were taken from previous test papers, and I hope they have helped you in understanding the concepts. Now this is a very useful test paper since it can help you to boost your marks, right? There are a few more questions from other test papers which you could copy and work out. I hope that really helps. If you feel good about it, share my videos, subscribe to them, write your comments and post questions. Thank you and all the best.